If English spelling is so bad, why haven't we had spelling reform yet? I am quite critical of what I see as English's needlessly complicated writing system, and I personally would welcome spelling reform due to the benefits I believe it would bring for literacy and language learning. However, I think it's worth talking about the arguments against it. One of the obstacles to spelling reform is that English lacks a centralized authoritative body like French's L'Académie Française that could then advocate for widespread adoption. Public acceptance of spelling reform is also quite low, potentially due to the lack of an authoritative body to force it. Because learning new spellings requires effort, and if English spelling is currently working for you, if it's not broke, why fix it? The diversity of English accents also presents a challenge because if you want to change English spelling to reflect pronunciation, which pronunciation? Vowel shifts are not uniform, meaning that the vowels used by different dialects don't always line up. One example would be the caught merger, which, as someone who speaks Canadian English, I would want those vowels to be the same letter, but that doesn't hold for all dialects. Spelling also often reflects etymology because English is 6 languages on each other's shoulders wearing a trench coat. That's why one of the most useful questions you can ask in a spelling bee is what is the language of origin, because it gives you clues as to how it's spelt. The final issue I'll talk about is silent letters because if removed, it may become more difficult to distinguish between words like night and night. Still, I don't think these problems are insurmountable. English has had spelling reform in the past despite not having a centralized authority. And we already have pairs of homographs and homonyms that have different meanings and etymologies despite being spelt the exact same, such as the noun waffle and the verb waffle. Different languages also have different spellings for different dialects. For example, South Korean underwent a phonological change where word initial N's and R's were removed if the first vowel was an E, which means that in South Korea, the word for woman is yoja, whereas in North Korea, it is noja. Heck, English already has dialectal variation in spelling, such as color, neighbor, and tire. And while this could be the first step in these dialects evolving into completely separate languages, that's just a thing that happens. That's how we got the Romance languages out of Latin. And the distinction between a dialect and a language is an entirely political one, which is a topic I am surprised that I don't think I've made a video on yet.